fabulous show.
Alaska.
I Heartbeat Alaska.
It's Heartbeat. Alaska.
Pull up a chair and enjoy the show.
Hear it from Sitka to Barrow. Gather around for Jeannie's show. It's the Aleut, the Indian, and the Eskimo. It's the Aleut, the Indian, and the Eskimo.
Welcome one, welcome all.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Heartbeat Alaska Native News and Information. I'm Jeannie Green. Heartbeat Alaska takes you to different villages every single week. Today, we take you to villages that begin with K. Did you know that there was villages called Kijik and Kanakanak, many other villages? And today, we take you to Kake, Alaska, and participate in a peacemaking circle. Also, we take you to Kiana, Alaska, traveling north. It's getting wintertime up here, and we learn how to make baskets, sled baskets. Ooh, dog sledding is just around the corner. Thanks for joining me, and thank you, Elvin Donovan from Ukpiavik and Upiak Corporation in Barrow for giving me this beautiful utak look at the recent AFN convention. Thank you once again, Evelyn, and I'll be back with Heartbeat Alaska right after this. In Copper Center, Alaska, people are walking to raise awareness about alcoholism in our communities.
Families come out and walk together. Friends come out and walk together.
It makes them happy that they're trying to do something about that.
Alcohol kills people. There's more to life than just drinking and drugs. I've lost a lot of family from alcohol.
I quit drinking alcohol in 1983. If I'm against alcohol, I thought I might as well walk for it.
Just feels good to walk out. A good day. Get exercise.
This Health Minute brought to you by AT&T Alaska. It's tax season, and living in rural Alaska means that it could take weeks, even months, to get your tax returns in the mail. Let Raven Tax take away the worry and the wait.
It'll be just a quick turnaround to get my taxes taken care of.
Formerly known as Liberty Tax, Raven Tax offers the same great service from the same great people. You can file your taxes electronically from the comfort of your home. Raven Tax guarantees the largest refunds at a smaller price and can often put money in your pocket the very next day.
I had some tax problems, and he helped me work through it and fixed all of the problems that I did have. John's consistent with his preparations, and working with him, it's personable and just a good response working with him and get my taxes done.
So don't wait around for your tax returns in the mail. Give Raven Tax a call, formerly known as Liberty Tax. Raven Tax, same great people, same great service.
Heartbeat Alaska would like to thank the following sponsors for making our show possible. Brown's Electric. Thank you, Brown's Electric, for your generous support. Heartbeat Alaska is also brought to you by Frontier Flying Service. Thank you, Frontier, for getting Heartbeat Alaska airborne.
Heartbeat Alaska is made possible by Kupik Carlisle Transportation, your full-service transportation and logistics company.
Travel with me now to Kake, Alaska, where we experience a different kind of justice, a unique kind of justice in Alaska, a justice that focuses on rehabilitation with family, friends, and community, sitting together in a peacemaking circle. This is Kake, Alaska, a Tlingit village northwest of Petersburg and south of Juneau. Kake lies along the traditional trading routes of the Tlingit and Haida and relies strongly on subsistence fishing and logging. When it comes to law, Kake is the only Alaskan village that participates in an innovative form of sentencing that blends traditional values with the Western court system. By forming a circle of wellness, family, friends, and the community can help rehabilitate and offer support to those that need it. Frank is just one success story that has benefited from the circle.
Frank came in and he was arraigned, and him and his attorney talked about settling up on the case that he was involved in. So he came through here, and the Superior Court judge heard his case. He pled out, and he said he was going to be coming to the circle. Circle peacemaking in Kake is, we're the only community in Alaska that practice it, and it's we work with the court system to give people chances on straightening themselves out. And as you witnessed today, we had a celebration circle, essentially as a circle for Frank and his wife. Last month we had one for his wife Marlene, and he chose to come to the circle for support, and that's what we really offer essentially for all the people that do come to the circle. And it's just people helping one another essentially. Once they either plea out or that their attorneys and the district attorney says it's okay and the judge signs off on it, that they can come to the circle for circle sentencing. That's where we participate in it and come up with a consensus agreement for how he's going to make things right to the victim, because the victim in circles is the most important part. And that's where it becomes involved in the community, because their families, their friends, and their parents come. And like you heard today, that it reflects upon our family, our clan, and our community, what happens when something is done wrong. It affects everybody. It's like a ripple in a calm pool. It starts coming back on people, and it affects other people differently. And that's what we try to make right in our community, and that's what we're finding. That's what really works. If the district court directs somebody over toward the circle, that they have to agree to go through it. That's part of their conditions of probation. Whether you're native or non-native, we all have that seed within us to start a tradition of wellness in our culture. Because at one point, our grandparents were at this stage. But since we've had contact with the Western world, we're the 7th generation now that they were looking for. On Frank, he's pretty special because he came to this Kake Circle Peacemaking for help by himself after the fact that he was involved in whatever he did to get him into court, and he came for support along with his wife. And his wife came through the circle by herself because she said she would like to start sobering up, and the alcohol counselors, we work real close with them, and they're part of our circle, and they got them into the Bill Brady Healing Center. And through that, we have our meetings bi-monthly. We have a meeting of support circles if we're not doing one for somebody. And through that, we give them support, and through that they're able to talk about their problems they're having. Maybe there's a thing that someone in the circle knows about, because the people that are there, we draw upon them, because a lot of them have went through what Frank went through. Like the elders there, they come and help us out, and they tell us what they're going to be looking at as obstacles, but nothing that might be able to really stop them from what they want to do, and that's maintaining their sobriety. And throughout this last year, we've been having them every other week with Frank. And going through that, Frank has talked a lot about things that have been bothering him through his life, and through that, he's been able to calm down a lot. And that's what I find, and that's what other circle participants find out, is that it benefits them by coming to hear people talk about problems. They thought they were the only ones that they had those kind of problems, and we get to share within this confidential circle about things that are going on in our lives. But here, Frank, he's just one of the model people that we've had, and he's been there, him and his wife, that has helped us out throughout the year that he's been sober. And we have a real good group of people that tend to just look on the bright side of things. And this is one of those days of where it's 1 year, and we thought it was a substantial achievement for a man like him to go through this, because he's been through some trying times himself.
Through the efforts of the Circle, Frank was able to become clean and sober, and today the Circle is celebrating. Many traditional gifts are given to Frank, and many words of wisdom are handed down. Each week, Heartbeat Alaska brings you great stories from all over the state. And we couldn't do it without the generous support of Frontier Flying Service. Frontier gets our camera crews where they need to go. So whenever you see a Frontier plane, give them a wave.
Say hi from Nuxet.
You might just be on Heartbeat Alaska.
Frontier Flying Service, covering Alaska for over 50 years.
Once upon a time, there was a wise man who built his house in the Northland where it's cold, where the wind blows, but he had a Toyo stove.
The Toyo Stove Laser 60 AT with the wood fireplace design is the perfect direct vent heating system for your home. A force flue pipe design for venting results in maximum efficiency, and a large circulation fan distributes clean heat quickly and evenly throughout your house.
Papa, you're the wise man. You have a Toyo stove.
Ariga.
Welcome one, welcome all.
It's a fabulous show.
Yeah!
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Jeannie.
Hi, Jeannie.
Hi, ladies.
Heartbeat Alaska.
Real nice to see you folks.
Hi, Heartbeat Alaska.
Pull up a chair and enjoy the show. Tune in each week. You'll be glad you did. Life is filled with victories we celebrate with ourselves and with others, but in Kake, Alaska, when one completes the rehabilitation program, they celebrate their victory in a fabulous way with the community.
This is from the Healing Heart Council in Kake that you're part of, and Mike Kenny made this. We got a picture. He got a picture of you when you were carving, and it's kind of in the background. And it says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. This is emotional for me. But congratulations, Frank.
We work with the court system, but we find that people take it really personal when they come to the circle, because not only do they just come by themselves, but they have to bring family members, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, friends, an extended family. Because what we've been taught in our tradition is that anything that we do reflects upon our clan members, especially our families. And the elders will always say, when I look at you, I look at your grandparents. Because all you're seeing now with me is the past. Because everything that I'm trying to do now is trying to do for 7 generations down. And with the circle, we're finding out people take it very serious, because when they signed their name on that agreement, these people were the ones that came up with that consensus, an agreement that they had to live with for a probationary period of time. And for that time of period, they can't do anything. And I'll tell you, It has saved lives on young children that start going down the alcohol way, but have completely stopped it. Not only them, but their parents have stopped drinking because they found out for the first time. They looked at their responsibility. And that's how we don't get hardly any repeat offenders. The recidivism rate, you might say, for our circles is 97.9%, because if you figure 2 out of 85, only 2 out of the 85 people that we've had circles for chose not to go by that consensus agreement. That comes out to be something around pretty close to 98%. But when you look at our regular court system, that's what got me interested in our old ways, our traditional ways of peacemaking, was that I kept seeing people come through that door, the same people, like a revolving door, that I thought there has to be some way we might be able to work with the court system to reduce that. And this is what came out of it. We practice just self-determination in our community. That's what it is. What people do is what they talk from the heart, just like Valentine's Day today. There's people that you saw in there were talking from the heart. And a lot of times our elders would say, the longest journey a man or a woman has to take is from their head to their heart to really start talking. And that's what comes out in circle peacemaking, is talking from the heart, of really trying to touch someone's soul and their value system to bring them back in to the community value system.
6 months ago, Claire made a promise to her family and to herself. The promise was she'd quit smoking by the time her next birthday came around. And already she's feeling better. She has more stamina, more energy, and her lungs are stronger than ever before.
Thank you so much, my good friends in Kake, Alaska, for sharing your stories with our viewers across Alaska, Canada, and the lower 48. And now we travel to Kiana, Alaska, and meet Mr. Donald Smith. He's a gentleman who was born in Norvik, but since he was an infant, lived in this beautiful community called Kiana, Alaska. Dog sledding has always been a part of Native history, and now has become ingrained into Alaskan history. Travelers and their canine companions have trekked across the white landscapes in a method that has remained nearly unchanged for centuries. This combination of man and animal working together has helped define Alaska for generations. Mike Lawless, a seasoned musher, points out the similarities of the modern dog sled team and those of long ago.
Yeah, you know, if you take a look at all the sleds today, you know, you'll see the aluminum runners and you'll see cable and all, but still it's the same basket sled that the North American native came up with thousands of years ago. It's the same sled, you know, so the technology hasn't changed, just some of the materials. And the fact that nothing, as far as traveling in this part of the world, nothing makes more sense 6 months a year. I mean, it was one of them things that was figured out long before any of us got here. So it's you're always linked with that past, you know, and you can sit around and kind of visualize mushers, you know, hundreds of years ago, trying to figure out how to build a better sled and get a better dog and, you know, provide better nutrition. It really hasn't changed, you know, so, and it's great to be part of it.
Donald Smith of Kiana certainly agrees. He makes traditional basket sleds.
I was born and raised in Kiana. I was born 1927 in Norvik. Norvik is 24 miles downstream from Kiana, and it had a little hospital at the time. That's where I was born. And I spent most of my life here in this valley, not in one spot all the time. We follow the game or fish and whatever. It's a modernized village now. You got TV, you got telephones, you got running water and sewer, and airplanes come. I don't know how many airlines come twice a day. And you can talk to the lower 48, and when you make a phone call, you can talk to people in Florida or someplace if you know who to talk to. Years ago, it wasn't like that. Years ago, when you want to go to lower 48, you have to go to Kotzebue and wait for the ship to come to Kotzebue. And if you're late for that ship, you gotta wait another year.
Donald can be found in his workroom at 5 o'clock in the morning, taking advantage of the peace and quiet before the rush of the day. He gave us a tour of his workshop this summer.
Even in winter time, when I'm not trapping, I make sleds. This is a basket sled, and they come in various sizes. This one is kind of a short one.
Donald has been making sleds for most of his life.
Ever since my dad gave me 4 dogs and kind of an old beat-up sled, and that's why I started. The patches on the sled was they're heavier than the sled itself. And every time when somebody come in with half-decent sled, I'd run over and take a look. And here's how I start right here. And you got to pick right end of the wood to bend it 90 degrees like that. I put it in a steam pot. There's a steam pot over there by the...
It takes Donald about 3 to 4 weeks to make a sled.
I put the wood in here, and I put it on top of the Coleman stove, let it boil, and steam would go into wood and make it limber. When I put grooves like this, when I start cutting it right away, it always be loose. And after you dry it, it's a little closer. It don't wobble like that.
Donald sells his sleds selectively through word of mouth.
I'm not in the yellow pages. There's just one man working here. No, I learned it from different people. I never go to school for it because I'm not much good in school. I had to quit school when I was about 4th grade and go on a trap line. Money was hard to come by them days. Only furs and whatnot. We have to get grub steak from the storekeeper to go when we go trapping. And when I started when I got a little business license here, I start making sleds even in summertime when I'm not doing too much.
Today things are easier for Donald, but he still works hard. When he isn't trapping or hunting, he diligently builds his sleds.
Hickory costs quite a bit, but when you get to, before hickory come around, we use birch. But there's more work in birch. If you got dollars, you might as well get flat wood instead of round tree. When you get round tree, you got to square it up, and it takes longer time. It's lighter, yes. Maybe some guys prefer birch instead of hardwood. Hickory. If you buy a sled like this, dogs would go at the fastest. They would go maybe 12, 13 miles an hour. And when you got machines, they load them up too much and start going 50 miles an hour. It's not made for that kind. Sure, it can stand when it's got no load. This one would sell for $1,800. It's a 9-foot sled. I used to just make them for myself, and I got interested in when I sell one sled. I got more than one time, and then that's when I get interested in selling sled. When you cut it too short, you got to cut another piece. Or if it don't bend, you just got to look at the plank and cut it for which side of the sled you're going to use it on. Well, sometime I make 6 of them in a year. It all depends. Like when I'm trapping, I make less because I'm out most of the time. And I use that tuna leader line to tie them. Here it is right here. It's a nylon rope. There's different sizes, and local stores got them, and I order them from Seattle too. When I finish the sled, I go here at 5 o'clock in the morning sometime, and while it's quiet, I work. And daytime, I do my own chores. And sometime I work maybe 12 hours in a day. But it's kind of hard to try and work 12 hours in the shop all the time.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us for another Heartbeat Alaska. Stories about your friends and your neighbors. Join us again next week as we travel throughout the North. God bless every one of you, and we'll see you then.
It's Heartbeat Alaska. It's Heartbeat Alaska. You can hear it from Sitka to Barrow. Gather around for Gene.